Hello, listeners and citizens of Mansfield. You're listening to Mansfield Radio, casting out of that sunny little town where the carbon footprint's always low, economy's thriving, and you're never far from the nearest pasture. That's right, folks, the sublime is always right around the corner. And with this beautiful and perfect town comes some beautiful and perfect weather. We're approaching dusk at a mild 72 degrees, and please do keep your eyes open at around 7:53 for that last glimpse of sun off of the horizon. You know, later tonight, I think we can even expect some of that Mansfield humidity to gather a thin dew out on the grass. It could. And in local news, the raffle at Mansfield Elementary was a roaring success where Mr. Kolb's 5th grade class raised enough money for not just one, folks, but 2 field trips of their choosing. But here's where it gets crazy. After taking their annual trip to Sandy Hook for their ecology project, they decided as a group to donate the rest of their raised funds to the Wildlife Preserve. There's some generous kids, folks. As far as I could tell, they'd be the ones to save the world. They really could have. Folks, this will be my final broadcast in my private little studio here. And to be honest, after all these years in my little pocket of solitude, I feel closer to you all now than ever before. And so I say now thank you to those of you who paved the way with cobblestones and those who followed the path to my own eternity. I mean, but maybe there never really was a path. I mean, that idea is about to be destroyed by some celestial mischief, and yet here I am, at work, delivering my own eulogy. How selfish of me. Isn't this supposed to be all of our eulogies? The great hand is in control, and it always has been. And to those of you anxiously awaiting the impact of that great hand, perhaps miles underground, huddled together in your bunkers built on skepticism, I applaud your efforts. I really do. But it seems as though it might not really matter in less than 5 minutes' time. Those precautions, they matter as much as a couple that's decided to finally spark up that joint they've saved from the 70s. You know, laying together in bed, enjoying that skunky, stagnant smoke circulating in the room. And those precautions, or lack thereof, they lay to waste. We're being judged quite equally. And now, I'm closing in on what will be my final words, perhaps the final words that you'll ever hear, and I can't help but feel a sense of wonderment at the fact that my voice might carry on long after impact. I mean, how long does the atmosphere even linger after being shattered to itty bits by a rock the size of a house hurtling through space? But I suppose we'll never really figure that out, will we? If I am dedicating these thoughts to a raw stream of consciousness, and perhaps I think back to my father. Imagine, will you, that his final wish was for his ashes be scattered at Horseshoe Lake. It's where he caught his biggest catch. I was never really much of a fisherman, so the type of fish escapes me, but the shine of pride in his steely blue eyes is what lingers. This idea that even though my father ended his life as particles that will travel around the world and back again, even maybe back into my body as carbon, he chose the fate, and I suppose I'll be following soon behind, physically anyway, as carbon. Have I created a life where I would be happy to end in dust? There's no need to leave you, my dear listeners, with dead air, even though dead air is what we can likely expect. And though our final moments are filled with heat, vibrations of friction, of eventuality, of promise, it's the only absolute I've ever faced. And in that there's peace. I can feel that rock getting closer and closer. Listen, it is no great hand of God or ultimate judgment or even a rock the size of a house that can give you peace. It's not regret that will keep you tethered to this earth, okay? It's eventuality. The peace in knowing that you've lived your life correctly while simultaneously living it incorrectly. We've reached the absolute end. We've reached eventuality. It's quiet that joins us now. I wish I had more to say. Goodbye, Mansfield.